Let's see here. I heard someone join. It says we are live, so 1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to the Think Tank. Each day we share the news in open dialogue and discuss how it might affect the business world. We speak with different leaders on crisis navigation and management, as well as experts in professional and personal self-betterment. It's meant to be a break in learning, sharing of good news and ideas to start people moving forward. It's called the Think Tank. We've actually transitioned now to Tuesdays and Thursdays. And with that, we are going to be a little more strategically focused on how are people getting back at it, because people are getting back at it. And so what are some best practices around that? And we're also going to focus more on having practitioners and experts and people in the field actually get on and tell us how they're doing and what's happening with them. So there's Alberto and there's Mike. What's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Mike.
So we were just saying things are coming back to life around here in Big D. How about down in Houston there, Mike?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of action on Memorial Day. I mean, they were out, riding bikes and stuff. I rode my bike, but people still wearing masks and stuff, while they work out and outside. I mean, I saw a mixture of both, actually. I think people, if they were with their own group, they didn't wear masks, but if they were, doing something around other people, they were on. So it's a balance, I think. Yeah.
And Alberto, what'd you get up to this weekend? Were you out with anyone, around anyone?
Actually, I did. Went over to the Adolphus and met Robbie up there. And
you did?
Yeah.
In the COVID pools?
Yeah, at the pool.
Yeah.
It seemed fine. It was good to see people out. I hadn't seen a lot, people out. There wasn't that many people there, so it was kind of good. It was nice. It was nice to see people actually, hanging out. I haven't seen that a long time. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, didn't play any golf this weekend.
Probably hard to get on.
Yeah, it's always hard. That's when all the amateurs go, during the weekend.
Yeah.
I did watch the golf match thing.
I watched a little of that,
which was interesting, and massive, crazy opportunities missed. I mean, they should have had up on the screen, here's everyone trying to big dog each other. Well, I'll give you so much per hole. They did a little, but they didn't promote it and constantly reinforce it. But man, you could have had every team out there saying, well, I'll donate to this or that, or I really don't want the expatriate or whatever to make this. And, God, they could have killed that.
Yeah, it was if it wasn't for Peyton and Phil, it would have been boring. I feel like, Brady wasn't that.
Was Brady even mic'd up?
Yeah, he was.
He had something in his ear. I know that.
Yeah, and then quickly, what's his face, Lefty, he's like, oh, my thing stopped working. So anyway, now I don't have to talk the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So put it back in your ear to work.
Yeah, like Tiger didn't hardly say too much. I mean, he did, but he's a little dry. Yeah, but I think Phil and Peyton really made that whole thing.
And it was and Chuck did. That was the best.
Yeah, Barkley.
Yeah, because he was throwing in all kinds of comments.
I think the weather hurt that too. I think the weather hurt the interaction and everything else. It just wasn't as much fun for them to be out there in a pouring rain half the time.
Especially when they showed the day before, it looked like this back here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was perfect the day before. And I mean, man, that was to see rain on TV. It has to be dumping
Hard.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
you know those
Yeah.
last 3 holes, when it's starting to get dark and those cameras are running with their full iris open, you know it had to be just, you couldn't see anything out there.
It looked like a beautiful course, though. I mean, that course looks so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
It was interesting. I talked to Robbie this morning. He said, the Dolphins opened back up, as Alberto said he went and visited. But man, there was a lot of, whatever. I need to take this mask off because I need to talk, and then people just had them as chin straps, not really using them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that keeps playing out.
I feel with the mask is that you have, you take it with you, you wear it, but respect the people that want you to wear it and respect people that don't want to wear it. I mean,
Right.
You have to just, if you want to wear it, and that's amazing. And if you have to wear it, then wear it. But, it's one of those things. It's like, it's almost become one of those issues that is like, okay, if you want to wear it, that's fine. I'm wearing mine. I don't know. It's a lose-lose.
It just goes back to somebody please anoint the chief scientist who has got everyone's best health in mind and is presenting science, not politics, and says, here's what'll happen. Here's how you can protect yourself, and then make up your mind and do it on your own.
Well,
I heard an interesting thing. Somebody said the reason why we treat every gun like a loaded gun is for the same reason we wear masks today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not wearing a mask to protect yourself, right?
Right.
They do virtually no good to protect you. You're doing it to protect others, and it's the lack of understanding and concern by people who don't care about what they do to somebody else that is a little frustrating,
Kind of like smokers, like.
Yeah.
So go smoke. You can't smoke in here. Well, why not? Because you're going to kill everybody else.
Yeah.
And then, Scotty, did you watch little Lance Armstrong the other night?
I didn't. I meant to see that, but I didn't see it. Hopefully it'll re-air.
No, it is. It's on demand right away. So that's interesting. It's a 2-part series on the Lance Armstrong saga.
It started Sunday night, I think.
Yeah, then they do it again next Sunday for the second
totally
half. But what's interesting there is that guy, it's not that he cheated, it's how he treated people still to this day.
Absolutely.
About doing that.
Yeah.
It makes a good case.
How dare you question him?
It makes a great case for doing it
Mhm.
at the early times anyway, when he was, because that's all anyone ever did.
Yeah.
But boy, that got thrown out of maybe in the bathwater when we start unpacking all the other stuff he did around it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wasn't very well liked.
No.
Is it on ESPN?
Yeah, it's a 30 for 30.
30.
2-part.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
He was actually born at Stevens Park Hospital in Oak Cliff.
Really?
And that's where his mom was working too before they moved out to Richardson. Yeah.
I saw.
I was one of the ones that didn't want to believe it for the longest time.
Yeah.
It was too good to be true.
Yeah. I always told people that I got in conversations with that, that there's no question that he took some sort of steroid to get healthy after all his surgeries. And I was trying to justify, well, it's just the residual effect from all this steroids he was taking for recovery.
But he was Superman. He's done a lot of stuff that no one's done. That's just, it was amazing what he did, but he was on steroids.
Steroids.
Well, and he played brilliantly on our desire to have him be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that's one of the things is that, you know, his PR machine and the persona absolutely tapped into our desire to have him be a hero.
And the fairy tale story.
Yeah, the whole exactly. Couldn't say it better. The whole fairy tale, right? And I was just, you know, like you, I didn't want to. I defended him. I didn't want to believe it, you know, and you know, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and you know, then oh well, here we go. I am not a crook.
I saw that phenomenon. I shot it was to be worse. Was one of the worst gigs I've ever done. I backed up a video guy who needed some still work because he was doing video work for a Battle of the Bands country music show.
Those are all words I don't want to put together.
And I was sick. I didn't feel well. He had to. I was like, oh, this is. So listening to that, and then having to be there sick. And then Roger Clemens comes out as like a special guest star. And this is right after he had was on, you know, Capitol Hill, you know, licking his lips and just, I mean, denying all of it. Everybody knows he was full of shit, but it didn't matter to those people. Did not matter at all.
He was a god.
Yeah, still, I'm like, man, I mean, it's not baseball fans. I guess just more local hero fans, because it pissed me off as a baseball fan. I was like, yeah, you guys don't need it. You don't need it, and you do it anyway. And it's just, you know, that screwed up the game for me. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, well, this is going to be interesting when he comes out. And it was a boo in the crowd. Wow.
Well, so much of the technology of baseball in the 80s and 90s was geared towards improving hitting and improving a batter's chance to be successful, and you know, very little was going into, you know, how many different ways can you throw a curveball, but
right.
So the pitchers all felt that they needed that a little extra.
Well, that's all money too, though. Chicks dig the long ball.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely, yeah. Strikeouts equals more dollars in your contract.
Man.
I saw an interesting, or not an interesting, but just an article this weekend that, you know, everyone's looking for some sort of test to figure out whether they're infected or have been infected. And they were looking for government's help as to deploy that across their states. And the government said, you need to figure that out on your own. We'll be able to supply a few of those tests for you, but you need to figure out your own solution. And I think that's the next big thing is figuring out how to test who's had it and who hasn't, and who can be in the same space. And then Abbott made a
don't look for anything to change, you know, as long as Trump's in the White House.
Yeah, well, Abbott made a little box about that big and announced it like 2 weeks ago that it'll do a test in 5 minutes.
Will it?
And it went over. Yeah, so you do your test or whatever, and you put it in there, and in 5 minutes it'll give you an answer. So all of a sudden, Abbott stock just goes, you know, right through the roof. And then a week later, they're like,
how many congressmen bought Abbott stock right before that happened?
Exactly, and it works 50% of the time.
60% of the time it worked every time.
Yeah.
So the stock turned around and went back down.
Wow.
But that's key. I mean, we're talking with a few clients, and they're just trying to figure out how can we do tests on people as they come in and give them immediate results. And there is no immediate result. And what do you want to test for?
And you got the market volatility now around stuff like that, right? The testing piece, and then you've got the other stuff that's running up and down around vaccine rumors.
Yeah.
You know, you got people that you got companies that their stocks going up 18-fold because there's a rumor that they've got a possible lead on a maybe vaccine, you know, and it's ridiculously thin, and boom, spikes and comes down. It's
how many people are actually now like looking into the stock market who never had, because this is a whole new playing field. Like, Oh, it's obvious to pick out the winners now. Oh, sanitation, sure. You know, anything that's testing, it's kind of, even I can pick out some winners on some of this stuff. But
they opened today, the stock market. I mean, physical trading on site.
Yeah. Hey, Sam, going back to your point about how people can gather in big groups if you can't test, if tests aren't immediate. What about just temperature? Can temperature be kind of the gateway into group activities again?
One of the symptoms of when you're infected and showing symptoms is temperature. But the problem is that so many people are asymptomatic and never show it. Like it can run right through.
Even with temperature, their temperature won't go up.
No, if they won't have any of the symptoms, and they're simply a carrier. That's the scary.
There are more people that have it that are asymptomatic than there are people who have it and present with symptoms.
Oh.
Well, that's why after you saw the pictures, I'm sure everybody saw the pictures of the Lake of the Ozarks fiasco this weekend. And Dr. Birx said, because there was documented cases of people who had tested positive in those groups. And the medical community came out and said, every single person that's there should go self-quarantine for 2 weeks.
I heard that.
Who thinks that's going to happen?
Yeah. I also heard that if not a majority, certainly a large portion of that crowd was from Illinois, which is still under a more stringent lockdown.
Well, and believe me, I used to go to Lake of the Ozarks. I'm from Illinois. My family is still in Illinois, and we're jerks. And none of that is going to happen. Chicago's about to. Literally, my brother and my brother-in-law live in Chicago. And I was talking to my brother over the weekend. He said, you can literally walk out the streets in Chicago right now and feel the tension. They're about to just burst over the orders.
Yeah, I have a friend in Wisconsin who said like Door County opened up this weekend, and
I bet it was swamped.
A bunch of people from Chicago went up to Door County.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that a bunch of those people at the Ozarks came all the way from Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a long haul.
Mm-hmm.
But Scott, the problem is that like I could have it right now and not be sick or have any symptom at all and pass it to whoever. And that's the problem with it. It's not like the common cold or flu where if you have it, you're going to show symptoms of it. Mm-hmm. And because of that, and because it can lay dormant for so long, even if you do have it and are going to show symptoms, that's the scary piece.
But I understand that. But what about knowing your your behaviors over the last 2.5 months? That you're pretty safe and don't have it. No. Is that accurate, or is there no way to tell?
No, well, no, there is a way to tell. You can take the antibody test, which will show if you have any resistance. Again, when you get a virus like that, your body will start trying to fight it and create an antibody. Mm-hmm. And that little antibody will show up in a test. Mm-hmm. So for some reason, the reason being you had it or carried it, you have antibodies.
Well, I guess my point is, I know personally since March 12th, the only people I've been around are my family members.
Yeah, but have they been anywhere? They didn't go to the store?
Yeah, they went to the store. But mouth coverings, sanitized hands.
Yeah, but
sometimes with gloves.
But that's how it could happen, though. I'm not trying to be, when you go take your mask off that protected you, it's covered. So now you take it off and I was all safe and do all that stuff.
But I'm no longer in that environment. I'm at home or I'm in my car.
I know, but the virus could be on your mask.
Oh, okay, I see.
So you go to take it off and you're like, "Whoo, that was lucky I was safe. I had that on." But now you got it on your hands, and then you rub your eye.
Yeah. I just noticed how much I touched my face.
And they're still trying to figure that out. Like, how can they tell?
Well,
if someone has it, even if they are asymptomatic.
And then the CDC switched twice on whether it can be transmitted by surface contact in 2 days.
Yeah.
They switched in twice in 2 days.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, this is, you've heard me yell for 2 months now about the only thing we know is we don't know. And, but what all the studies show is that because we aren't using KN95s or N95 masks that fit correctly, right? They've done time and motion studies in a grocery store that say the average person wearing a mask has a contaminated hand, or even with a glove,
Yeah.
and they touch their mask or their face an average of 47 times. Okay. So you're wearing the mask, but because the mask doesn't fit, you're unconsciously doing this to your own face, and you're literally sticking germs on it.
Yeah.
Your glasses fog up.
Glasses fog up.
You
Yeah,
grab your glasses.
it's ridiculous.
You touch that keypad.
You touch the key, buy Apple stock, because Apple Pay is going to rule the world as they go to contactless.
Says Apple Doug.
Says Apple Doug. But it's the people, and I obviously pick on, I'm prejudiced to Apple, but the people who are going to be doing the PayPals and the stuff they're going to be doing cross-platform pay in the touchless environment are well positioned, because that's going to change. All that's going to get moved, particularly if we hit a second wave. You're not going to want to touch a keypad. You're not going to want to touch an ATM, blah, 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 blah.
We're going to hear more about Bitcoin now?
I don't know that Bitcoin is going to do anything, because Bitcoin still, I don't think, is going to move into the everyday transaction field for some number of years, but you will see more and more of the contactless transactions. And the safest ones are the ones that are handled by third parties who do a better job of security than your bank. Your bank's contactless ones aren't very secure.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, except for access to my phone, all those keypads I always touch with my knuckle. I never touch
Yep.
Me too.
Yep, me too. Off hand, off knuckle, something I try not to use, that I don't normally use. And then of course I usually mess it up and I get everybody just yells at me.
But then it's hard to get that door open at Starbucks.
Oh yeah. Well, have you seen the Starbucks commercial? It's pretty interesting. Where they're literally walking you through the contactless process, on TV,
I
where
haven't seen it.
place your order on your phone before you get here. In some stores, they've actually got an employee opening the door, so you don't have to touch the door, or they're propping the doors open in nicer places. You walk in, you contactlessly through your Starbucks app or your whatever your payment thing is, get it. The first time you have any contact with anything, even if you're in the store, is the cup that came out of a sterile container.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah, they're working really hard on making it so, you get your coffee and it truly has the least amount of human contact that they can make it in a reasonable way.
I guess Fred Druckers is dead.
Yeah.
That's nothing but touching.
Well, so they're talking about things that are going to go away, right? So the CDC has basically shuttered all buffet type things. They've said if you've got the common drink dispensers, which everybody went to, those are supposed to be shut now. So there's going to be a lot of changes. I read somewhere, we talked about this briefly once, the Japanese world is of food service. There's a lot of vending machine type stuff for high-end food. And they're talking about McDonald's, and some other people are experimenting with going into a McDonald's, and your order will come out like it's in a vending machine in a slot, on a tray that you never see the human.
Have you seen the movies at McDonald's?
Fair point.
Only like this.
But Japan's ready to go. I mean, the 7-Elevens and the convenience stores are at a whole different level there.
Oh,
And it's like when I was there last year, they had a whole bin full of ice cream cones with scoops of ice cream in with a special cover on, and somehow they figured out how to put it on so the scoop wouldn't fall out. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Well, they've got, all that stuff, because, the people that own 7-Eleven is actually Japan's largest convenience store. And all that stuff is made in dark stores, and so because I was working with 7-Eleven I worked with them for years, and it was fascinating because over there, they've literally got factory rows of sushi experts who do the sushi in the dark kitchen. It gets stuck into the back of a small truck, and it goes to these stores, and it's only there for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it's high grade stuff.
Yeah.
Not like, a lot of people here aren't going to buy sushi at a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a friend of mine worked on the 7-Eleven account, 20 years ago. And that's right when they were trying to bring in, here's our fresh sandwiches and all of that, which they really, they were fresher and higher quality than anywhere you could go, but you can't get over the stigma of the crappy frozen in the triangle, rip the top off thing, no matter what you did, it's like, no, it's still the same guys who make that.
Yep. Yeah. And it's been there for 6 years.
Yeah, put pate in a Spam can.
Yeah.
It's coming out of a little crank.
Crack and you rip it open.
Yeah. Like, I read somewhere that Apple is pulling 20% of their production back to the U.S.
Working on it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to see, one of the big things that is going to, it'll be interesting to watch. I shouldn't make predictions because I don't know that works or not yet. But the whole world of supply chain is in turmoil. As Sam knows firsthand, we've been so locked and loaded and dependent on China, and in other industries, fashion in particular, in some cases South America, it is, and cars in Mexico and South America. It's going to be interesting to see what roles. My personal belief is if we don't have a really bad second wave, the end laziness of our business will win, and they won't go make the changes. We'll get 6 months away and they'll forget about it. And we won't make the changes that we should. But there's an awful lot of talk about rejiggering the supply chain to make it less vulnerable.
Well, did you hear today, Belgium and Norway both said if there's a second wave, they're not shutting down anything.
Right. I heard that.
Hey, Sweden had it right. We're all going to stay open.
Yep. Oh, I believe that's the way it's going to be too. I don't think we've all talked about that ad nauseum. I don't see another shutdown unless it becomes incredibly, incredibly bad.
Yeah.
Anything else to share today?
I just shared a link with you guys that had a lot of what we were talking about from the hustle, but one interesting thing in there that was talking about local travel is going to be beefed up because they think people just got to get out. So there's going to be like more of a staycation rather than, people in local areas are trying to find something for locals to do more than just go to the park. So there's an opening there for jobs, hopefully, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's got a couple of different things on it.
I think that is going to be the case. You don't, people are a little hesitant to go to the airport, but if I can jump in my car and drive somewhere for 3 hours or less, I'll do it.
There's a big article about, what the airplane or the airlines are trying to do to ensure cleanliness and everything else. And all I could think about was Sam, because, they were talking about all the stuff that you and I have talked about, trying to get contact antivirals that last for 3 or 4 days, is what they're testing it. I thought it was Southwest, but
I saw one of the Jannah King, the big janitorial company, put stickers on your window that says 99.99% of all bacteria and germs were killed here, which right now, that's as good as it gets. Everyone's like, okay, cool. And I want to make the additional sticker that says, but they were back at it 90 minutes later and fully
Yeah.
recontaminated. Because that's
Yeah,
the
like a
case.
time stamp on the cleaning. Like
Yeah.
how long has it been cleaned?
Because eight hours later, it'll be at full contamination after you have a complete sanitization and or disinfection.
Well,
Just from particles in the air?
No, because bacteria, especially like viruses and fungal microbes, double in size every 20 minutes.
Oh.
So in 90 minutes, what was a safe level has grown well beyond what safe is. Even though you took it from, like I did it here in the studio, I took this keyboard from 500 microbes or germs per square inch down to like 20, which, you know, just using traditional 70% alcohol and all that kind of stuff. But within an hour, it went up even more than what it was originally. So for that one moment in time, it was really clean and really sanitized. But that's all people can currently do unless they come up with a different formula, which we might be able to help them out with.
Well, and then like you were talking about, you know, what are you going to do in the plane? Because they're, you know, most airlines are now saying they're going to re-sanitize between every flight. And the current estimate is that that's going to take your programmed flight delay between legs, right? So my plane hits the gate.
Right.
Today, they assume it's a 20-minute turnaround from door open to door close. They're saying now that by re-sanitizing every time it hits a gate, that it's going to go from 20 minutes to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And so what's that, you know, so then you have to figure out when you're doing your scheduling programming, what does that cascade into my, you know, my availability of, you know, and capacity. So it's crazy.
24-hour flights.
And they're saying, I thought I read, no, I shouldn't say it. I know I read, but I thought they said now that they're talking about the recommendations to be at the airport going from 2 hours to a minimum of 3 and probably 4. You know, you have to arrive to get through TSA, to get through the checks.
That's just a normal travel day for Alberto.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Alberto Random Elizondo.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just random. Right. Right.
Right. Well, and so somebody out there tell me, what's the use of buying a first class ticket now? Okay, so you're going to pay all the money for first class, and it's in my contract, so I fly first class because of my back, because of the seat. But you know, if it's not that, what the heck is it? You know, you're not going to get any extra service. You're not going to get on first anymore, because now they're talking about, you know, boarding from the back to the front on everything to minimize, you know, pass through contact. You know, why would you do that?
No one gets to see you when you're in first class when you're walking.
Yeah, you can't go look at me.
Yeah.
Can't sign autographs.
It's not just a better seat, it's a better life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want the seat. I can't, otherwise I'm crippled. But I don't know how they're going to justify selling a first class seat anymore.
Well,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that breathe and cough and rub up against you. You know, if you're on in first class, then they have to get to the back of the plane.
Yeah. Get the unwashed masses back there and shut the curtain, you know.
Load them from the back of the plane.
Keep my
Yeah.
seat seated.
all right. Well, Scott, did your friend say he was good for Thursday?
Yeah, he said he's starting to teach a class on Thursday, but he can still be available. So
Okay.
I'll contact him right now and make sure we can line him up.
Okay, and then I'll send you some questions, and then we'll see if we can't get him on just a couple minutes early to get him
Okay.
ready to go.
Okay.
And then we'll do that on Thursday at 2:00. Anything else? Anyone else? All right.
Live.
Well,
Hey,
thanks
I finally got a
everyone.
job.
You got a job?
Yeah, I'm working the IndyCar race at Texas Motor Speedway on Saturday night.
Really?
Yay.
Yeah, that's fun. What are you? Is that a fly cam or is that
No, it's
traditional?
just gonna be in the pits.
Okay. Cool. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I saw the golf crew, half of them using chin strap mask. It's like, wait, just take it off, man.
Yeah.
Go back.
All right, take care, guys.
All
All
right.
right, man. Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye.